Hello, everyone. This is Sweet Lou, Jeff Luzader with Hoosier Authority, and another segment into Lafayette Living Legends. And today we have a special guest in Mr. Clayton Richard. And Clayton, I really appreciate your time. How's everything going with the Padres?
Everything's going well. Excited about the season coming up. We've had some key acquisitions up the middle, really, on defense, and excited for a new start.
Well, what I want to really concentrate on is a little bit about, we talked off camera here about your roots and everything, and of course I know Jake Burton had a big influence in your life, and I know your dad's had a big influence in your life. And looking back in hindsight regarding going to the University of Michigan and going for football, you have no regrets of stepping into the baseball realm, do you?
No, everything's worked out well. Couldn't be happier where I'm at right now. Excited about the opportunities I have out in San Diego, and the opportunities really that started with Chicago and what they have given me as an opportunity. So just really excited about where I'm at right now, and can't wait to keep on moving forward.
Now, just again looking back to Clayton, do you sometimes, and everybody asks this question on some people that have been successful, do you ever just maybe get up in the morning and look in the mirror and just kind of pinch yourself and think, gosh, I'm really in the major leagues?
That happened earlier in my career, kind of understanding what it meant to be there and how neat of a chance that was. And now kind of accepting that fact and trying to do everything in my power to make myself a better player and better equipped for this opportunity I have. So that's kind of how it starts. But once you get used to it and realize that this is who you are now and what you're doing, it becomes a little easier.
Now, you're up on a pedestal, so, it's not like you're somewhat of a movie star, but, I mean, you could kind of come and go as you please, but surely, I know you'll be honest with me, but, hey, Clayton, how about an autograph, all that good stuff. You know you got to do your job sometimes, so you just have to draw the line, correct?
Somewhat, but it's neat. It's something when you're a little kid, you dream of people asking for your autograph, so you kind of have to keep that in perspective. And especially when you see little kids that get excited about something like that, that's really neat. So that it kind of comes with the territory, and you realize that, and you try. If it makes somebody's day, it's definitely worthwhile.
Now, your experience you had with Jake Burton and at the high school level, I'm sure it's a lot different in the major leagues. I mean, every year you're not really holding your breath thinking, well, I wonder if I'm going to make the team or not. But do you always have that in the back of your mind? Hey, there may be some young guy come up out of the minor leagues that might take my place.
You definitely have to be aware that how this game works is such a business that teams aren't going to hold on to you if you're not producing, and have that feeling of urgency that you always want to get better, always want to push yourself. And I think that's special about what I'm into and athletics in general, that if you're not pushing yourself, someone's going to push you out of the way. And just keeping that in mind is always a good thing to have in the back of your mind.
Now, you mentioned that word business, and obviously that's what I was trying to get to, the difference between high school and going in the major leagues. But being on a Padre pitching staff, everybody's, I know, out for themselves, but yet you guys are a team, so you're all always having somebody trying to help you out, saying, hey, you shouldn't have thrown this or whatever. So, can you talk a little bit about that camaraderie you have with your teammates with the Padres?
Like you said, in the end, it is a business, but while you're at the park and while you're with your teammates, the good teams don't act like it's business. They act like it's a game that they want to win. And whatever it is they have to do that day to win a baseball game, they'll come together and do that. And I think that's what sets teams apart, is the ones that are worried about how much money they're going to make and what kind of contract they're going to get, and then the other teams that go into the field every day and figure out how to win games. And I think that's something we had last year and hope to have this year, that have a bunch of guys that are in the clubhouse going out every day to win baseball games.
Now, as far as gauging whether you're ready for the major leagues or not, how long did you spend in the minors, and do you feel like maybe obviously it wasn't your decision, hey, I want to go up in the major league level. It was somebody else that thought, hey, this guy's got the stuff to do in the major leagues. But in hindsight, do you feel like you spent enough time in the minor leagues to prepare you to be a major league pitcher?
I think so. Kind of went according to plan. A lot of people don't do that. Spent about a year at every stop, and it's something that I was fortunate to be with the White Sox and their farm system and their pitching coordinator and all the way down through the ranks to pitching coaches, did so well with their pitchers and young pitchers going through the minor leagues, just really teaching the game of baseball and teaching what it means to be a pitcher at that level and learning from them and adjusting as you go. I think they very well equipped me for the major league level.
Now, as far as the off season, I know everybody knows that the season's longer than 9 months with the way the schedule is. Can you talk a little bit about? We talked off camera here that you were going to head to the Padres a little bit early, but people probably can't comprehend that this is a 12-month job, really.
Right. It is nice to have an off season because I get to come home and be with family and be around the community that I know and love. But that being said, it's not very long. I get to be home, and the time you're home, you have to really grow and improve as a player and get ready for that next season. But it is a long season. When we eventually leave for spring training, that's coming up soon in February, and you're there all the way through hopefully October and November. But it's something that I look forward to every year.
Now, as far as a pitcher, I know an outfielder and an infielder, they're fielding ground balls and catching fly balls on a daily basis. As a pitcher, you can't do that in the major league. What is on a 7-day, just say a typical 7-day in Florida, or where do you guys train at? Arizona, so Cincinnati Reds fan here anyway. But just talk for a minute about what your 7-day routine is as far as a pitcher in spring training.
We throw a lot of sides, and sides are just in the bullpen, throwing to catcher, working on that. We do that quite often, probably close to every other day when we're down there. And about a week or two into it, we'll start throwing in games. And you can throw about every other day. And then as a starting pitcher, once you start stretching out, your outings lengthen, and you get a little bit more rest in between. And then every day in between, we're out there playing catch, fielding PFPs, pitchers fielding practice, doing a bunch of little things, lifting, running, all the things to be in shape for the season.
Now, as far as other teams, I mean, I know you concentrate on the San Diego Padres, but did you know the Cincinnati Reds got Renteria? Or do you know that the New York Yankees did not get the pitcher they were looking for? I mean, do you kind of scan the league and keep up to date on what's going on as far as acquisitions to other teams?
Not much more than an average fan, I don't think. It's kind of in the off season you kind of become a fan yourself, and you get to watch some football, watch some basketball, and then you're watching SportsCenter like everyone else or whatever it is that you watch. So that's kind of how you find out the news in the off season. So I don't stay on the websites and stay up with it all the time, but I do follow it somewhat, and it is neat to see those different things happen, knowing that sometimes they involve you.
Now, another thing, too, that a lot of people may not know, at least I don't know, and I'm curious to find out, is when you say you don't pay that much attention, when it comes time to the regular season, do you have – what does the San Diego Padres have out there that's informing you about the starting lineup for the Cincinnati Reds and stuff like that? How often do you – obviously you must go over those every day before you're scheduled to pitch, correct?
Right. No, and that's something really neat in the major leagues is how elaborate their scouting is. And they have scouts out watching the teams you're going to play, advanced scouting, and then everything's on video nowadays. So how technology has helped, it's amazing. You can get video from every hitter you're going to face from all of their at-bats in the major leagues. So in that aspect, you can pick apart every hitter you face and every lineup you're going to face and really understand what you have coming up against you.
Now, as far as where you pitched, I know I was real excited to see you on Sunday night in ESPN and Yankee Stadium one night. I'm sure going to a lot of these stadiums is, I mean, the grass has got to be just, I mean, it's just top-notch stuff. We think Coach Burton had a nice field out there, and he still does, but I'm sure it's not anything to or even Loeb Stadium where, you won a sectional. But tell us a little bit about some of the places besides Yankee Stadium. I mean, I'm sure that's an elaborate place, but do you have a favorite place besides out at San Diego where you like to pitch?
Right. Well, Coach Burton, he said that your grass wasn't as good as all the other ones. I didn't say that. No, there are a ton of great places to play, and Petco is probably one of the best out in San Diego. Our home field, they take just the best care of the field, the turf, everything about it is really well done and done the right way. But everywhere we go is neat. There's something special about every place we go, and it was neat when I got to throw in Yankee Stadium. Because growing up, I was always kind of a Yankees fan, so that was really cool, being their last home series before they went to the new place. But everywhere you can think of, there's something special about, and that's what's neat about the game is going to see all those places.
Now, one other thing I want to ask you here, and what that's come to mind is after ball games, if you're in New York, do you run into Joe Torre or any of those guys after the game sometime and say, hey, great game, guys? Or how much collaboration's done with the opposing team, if any?
Not a ton, but of course it's usually we're all leaving out the same exit, so you'll see them as you come and go and just say hi and be nice and considerate, because they're going to work every day as well. So, but between the lines, you compete fiercely, and as you do see those type of people probably once or twice a day, and that's kind of the neat part about it is seeing those people that are considered famous and being able to shake their hand and meet them.
And one last question here that I'll ask you, and I'm sure you've either been witness to it or maybe done to it or had it done to you, but I'm sure out in the bullpen there's a lot of practical jokes that go on out there. You've been in the major leagues just a short period of time, but I'm sure you've had some tricks of the trade pulled on you. Do you have any that you can really reveal to us?
Oh, man. I don't know if I have anything I can reveal, but there's all type of shenanigans that go on out in the bullpen, because you have to understand that baseball games get quite lengthy at times, and when you're out in the bullpen, you're far enough away that people can't really see, and you're far enough away it's really tough sometimes to follow the game pitch by pitch, because you can't really see what's going on all the way at home plate. So guys' minds wander a little bit, and they end up having a lot more fun.
And last thing I wanted to ask you is, I don't know whether you have or not. You don't have to tell me if you have, but I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan. There was a big battle with the St. Louis Cardinals. There was a big brawl, and you ever run out of the bullpen in to support the Padres in a fight or anything?
We've had nothing big, no punches thrown or anything, but every now and then those things happen where you have to run out on the field, and usually in baseball that's all that happens. You just run out on the field and look at each other and then go back to the dugout. But nothing too severe yet.
Well, I really appreciate your time, Clayton. Best of luck to you, and like I said off camera, keep telling us where you're from, and always just be humble. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
This is Hoosier Authority and Jeff Luzader saying so long, everyone.